I sort of echo what everyone else has said so far about what a great sort of welcome home. Okay, so what I want to talk about is, people that know me know I'm sort of a person that's really moved by vision. And whenever I've sat where you are and I've watched people do this, I've always wanted to know why they did it. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about that. Why did I do it? And what my experience was about it. So often people describe me as driven. So I guess for me, I've always felt as though I've had something pushing me along. Like some call it fate, call it destiny, or call it, in Triratna parlance, call it the suprapersonal force, something bigger that's sort of encouraging you to grow. And I've never seemed to have much choice about that. I've always just seemed to have been sort of pushed along. But I do know that I used to have all these dreams about helping people or saving people or from difficult situations and so on, even when I was very young. And for me, the world seems like it's got lots of joy in it, but it's also got lots of suffering. It's got lots of difficulties, lots of poverty, war, lots of terrible situations with lots of people suffering. And all of this seems to be coloured by aspects of hatred and greed. Our whole society is built on accumulating things. So this has always motivated me to do what I can to help. And very sort of quickly in my life, I realised I couldn't do it on my own. I was very much, try as hard as I could only help a few of those people around me. So when I came to the Buddhist Centre and met the order, or encountered the order and community, I was really inspired by the shared vision of this group of people that wanted to make a better world, to transcend suffering, that somehow an escape from that was possible. So that was at least why I ended up going to Gukaloka. So because I was really, I wanted people to share my vision, or rather sort of join their shared vision. So there we go. I find myself flying out to Mountain Valley in Spain with my two very good friends here, for a 4-month men's retreat, with a lot of silence, a lot of meditation, a lot of study, and so on and so forth. But it wasn't, for me anyway, it was never for me. It wasn't so I could have a good experience or so I could understand myself better. It was always to make myself into a better tool, to help other people. So, so I approached it with the feeling that I wanted to just work on myself. And what better conditions could you get? I mean, you're isolated. There's input is reduced, so you have, as it's been said, you have no contact with the outside world. You have a fantastic support team which bring the food up into the valley and cook for you and deal with all of the interface with the outside world. So you're left to turn inwards and to see what is really going on. And as Jan of Archer reminded me before I left, there are no days off. Actually, there is one day off right at the end, but there are no days off. So every day, 7 days a week, same program. Just and it's very intense. Yeah, it can be trying, it can be awe-inspiring, it can even be really boring at times. But Arthur Priya, who was leading the course, he'd give these sort of pep talks in the evening where we would before we do the puja in the evening. And one day he said, "If you feel bored, remember you're not here to enjoy yourself." Which was really sort of good for me, and it just sort of reminded me that I was doing it for others. I wasn't just there so I could have a good time up this mountain, or even make myself a better person. I was here because of the people at home. And the people that were struggling. But in those conditions, you really see, or I certainly really saw what how my own mind worked and how it sort of conspired to make me unhappy, and how it could make me fragmented, and how it could cause me to be selfish and act selfishly and greedily. So I started to get to grips with that, and I started to understand a bit more how my mind worked and how the minds of people work generally, looking at my friends and hearing what was going on around them in a way that's almost impossible to see in day-to-day life. It's so finely woven into our sort of fabric and our nature that unless it's very sort of still, you just can't sort of get down far enough. And then in the last week, we on the retreat, you start to sort of turn outwards again. You've been sort of in this bubble, and you start to prepare for going out again. And there's there's these rituals, and we take our robes off, and we start to get a bit more input. So we sort of caught up a bit on the main headlines of the news. And I was really struck. I was a sudden sense that I'd sort of lost where I was or something. I had a reflection in hindsight that I was living in an ideal world, and a real sense that this sort of sense of harmony, this communication that we have, the full engagement that the people on the retreat were engaging with their values and the beauty around us, and just the generosity and kindness expressed. That was a sort of microcosm of how the world really could be. The potential was there. But I now sort of felt, a bit distant from it, and it suddenly dawned on me that, what I needed to do now was manifest that in the world. The next task was to make that manifest. So going on retreat itself wasn't enough. I now had a sort of, I'd always had an aspiration to do that, but I now had a taste of what an ideal society or an ideal world might look like. I understood the principles a bit better. And so with that, the really significant thing for me on the retreat is it's given me real impetus to come home and try to do that the best I can. And obviously I can't do that alone, and I can't do that perfectly, but with my friends, hopefully I can do that to some degree, and hopefully I can do that to make a difference. And I think most of all to give people the power to alleviate their own suffering as well. That was very much my experience of coming to the Buddhist Centre. So just to tell you my name, so as you've heard, I'm Viryanaga. So Virya means energy in pursuit of the good. And Naga is a mythical serpent. So the closest we have in our sort of culture is like a dragon, but in India it's a serpent. So literally, these Nagas are known to live in the depths of the ocean and are associated with like subconscious and like wisdom and so on. And so literally my name means the serpent of energy. But I've been thinking about this more poetically as sort of someone who harnesses deep unconscious energies in pursuit of the good. So that's my name. I just want to finish by just imploring you to help me make this world a better place in whichever way you can. Thank you.